Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Andrew Yang. Specifically, we're going to talk about the shadow of Yang, and specifically the freedom dividend over UBI. So let's get into this. Okay, so what do I mean by this? So first of all, we are now in the shadow of Yang. What is that? Well, it's a new era. We're in it now. Andrew Yang is gone. He is no longer in the presidential primary race. This bright American Camelot future that we had under his presidency is vanished. It will not be. Okay, and the reason why is Andrew Yang stepped back. He stopped pushing. I really feel like if he had stayed in, there was a possibility, but even that possibility was a long shot, and the price that Andrew Yang had to pay every day was a very sure cost. So I do understand why he decided to step back. I'm not disappointed in I'm not disappointed in him as a person. I am disappointed in that one decision, but I'm so thrilled with so many of his other decisions and his abilities and his character and all these other things. I'm just disappointed in that one decision. Okay. All right, but we are now in the shadow of Yang, and in November, trust and believe, no matter who wins, it will be a dimmer reality because the shadow of Yang will literally be cast over it. All of us in Yang Gang will remember that there was a better candidate and there was a better future that America at the mass level rejected. Incredibly frustrating, okay? All right. I want to talk about this freedom dividend over UBI, but I think we also need to talk about why Andrew Yang had to quit, why he didn't win, right? And why he came into, why did it turn out that in Ohio and in New Hampshire he had 0 delegates, right? Well, here's my take. I think this is the real reason why. At the hardcore, there's a lot of reasons why. The main reason why, the most cutting, the most deep, the most impacting reason why, the primary reason why is the simple silhouette. The majority, I think, at the macro level, Americans have in their mind a simple silhouette. Okay, they have a simple silhouette. That silhouette has 2 attributes, and they say a president needs these 2 attributes to be president. And anyone who does not have those attributes is going to face incredible difficulties getting to victory. Incredible difficulties, and that is just. It's such a harsh reality, and it's so difficult to wrangle with, and it's so emotionally debilitating. It is hard to grapple with that reality, and I think that's where we're at. I think that's the thing, and the thing is, the reality is only one human being in history has broken that simple silhouette for an 8-year period, and that is President Obama, and he only broke one attribute. He was able to he only had to break one of those attributes, right? And so, can you imagine the candidate who would have to break 2 attributes? It's going to be incredible, right? So, but for this same reason, right? Andrew Yang was not able to find a path to victory because he didn't fit that simple silhouette. He lacked one attribute, right? And he wasn't able to do what Obama did. And I will tell you right now, my respect for President Obama has gone up tremendously. I voted for him twice. My respect for him was already very high, but it's gone up tremendously. You look back and you wonder how he did what he did. It's a mystery. Even today, we saw it in real time, and it's a mystery how he accomplished what he did. But I honestly think what stopped Andrew Yang from finding a path to victory has an incredibly high likelihood of doing exactly the same for Pete Buttigieg, for Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar, for Mike Bloomberg, for who else? I think that's it. That's it. That's the only ones who seem to be struggling with the attribute issue, and it is incredible. It is absolutely incredible that this simple silhouette will be such a huge blocker. Very, very upsetting and a harsh reality. All right, now let's set that in place. We have that as an understanding. Okay. All right, let's talk about what it means beyond that. Let's talk about freedom dividend over UBI. So there's an opportunity. Okay. I'll tell you right now, I think the Democrats are in incredible trouble. I put the Democrats' chances of beating Trump in November between 1% and 9%, depending on who they put into the general, and depending on what the state of America is at the time of the general. Okay? All right. So there is an opportunity, though, in the shadow of Yang. Even his achievements in the primary race were so significant that the conversations that he brought up, the topics he brought up, the reshaping of modern thought around a safety net for Americans is so strong that I think there's still a massive opportunity for Democrats to have Yang thought, and Yang, I would put it, Yang thought and Yang progressiveness attached to their platform in ways that I think could really, really win. All right. So here's the thing. I think freedom dividend is an unbelievably powerful platform, and that the only reason it failed was that simple silhouette problem. I really feel like, actually, it is non-intuitive. That's one more problem it has, but I still feel it's very powerful. But here's the issue. So we're now in the shadow of Yang. Yang is gone. He's out of the presidential race. And everybody's return, and so Yang Gang has moved is moving into its next positioning. And I can see it's like dominoes. A lot of the big Yang Gang people are falling into place to say, okay, the next thing we do is we support UBI. And I'm here to say I think that's the wrong move. We should support freedom dividend, not UBI. Here's why. First of all, the Dems are getting absolutely wrecked right and left. They are really not doing great in politics overall. I think overall, the Republicans, they had a lot of win before Trump. Trump has really elevated their platform overall, and they have a lot of advantages over Democrats that are just like really significant. One of them is they have a much deeper political bench. They have a much better system for raising politicians. I'm talking literally from birth to podium, right? Like Republicans are just better at it. There's just no two ways about it. And so, with that said, you have this situation where you need to get everybody set, right? So, yeah, all right, let's get all the way there. Thanks for your patience. Okay, so the freedom dividend, why? Oh, yeah. So the Dems are really, really far behind. And one of the reasons why is the Democrats really don't understand that they have overshot the mark on a whole bunch of language and a whole bunch of culture and a whole bunch of society elements. Language elements, society elements, and culture elements. And they need to roll it back, okay? So UBI is not a winning platform. And the reason why is it's like, hey, all of humanity, every human being deserves a basic income, okay? You know what? I get it. Like, pixies in the forest, sunshine, dust, unicorns, and rainbows. I get it. It's a beautiful concept. Wonderful. Love it. I like it. I'm a Christian. I don't want anybody to starve. Of course. I get it, right? But here's the issue. At the base level, in America, people don't like that. They don't like the concept of that, right? And one, they don't care about globalism. They don't care about the planet. They care about Americans, right? And Andrew Yang understood this. And he named it Freedom Dividend for a reason. And it is brilliant as Freedom Dividend. It really is brilliant. It's American focused. It's patriotic. And his idea, he was saying, no, it's not based on every human being deserves enough to live above poverty. He was saying, we as Americans have done so incredibly well that our largesse can be given out to the people as a dividend, which there's a wealth precedence for this, right? Dividends are come with companies that do extremely well, and so there's a powerful wealth allegory for this, right? And it's American, right? And Americans love capitalism, and they love patriotism, and they love the flag, and they love Americans. They don't want to hear about globalism. They want to hear about humanity. They want red, white, and blue American progress for Americans. And the reality is, the Dems, they're always trying to go one. They're always they don't stop and think about how progress is made, right? Progress is made in increments, and it's made slowly, and it's made carefully, right? And the Dems just want to jump right, all the way to the end goal, and you can't. Like, you have to learn lessons in politics, and you have to. And so right now, that's the issue, is we should preserve Freedom Dividend, not UBI, right? And people should say, hey, other candidates should pick up the Freedom Dividend. And we should find a new candidate to pick up the Freedom Dividend not in 2020. There's not enough time. We're not going to get, none of these other candidates are going to pick up Freedom Dividend. They're not. They don't need to. They already beat Yang. They don't need to pick up his policies. Maybe Pete does. Maybe, because he's kind of a blank slate. He really doesn't have any, in my opinion, he does not have a single original idea of his own. I'm begging you to point me to one that he had. I haven't. A lot of people have given me information about him. Not one person has pointed me to an original policy he's ever created, right? So, but I'm telling you, he has no innovative, no unique policies, right? So maybe Pete would pick up Freedom Dividend. It's possible, right? But the rest of them, they don't need it, right? They could just keep going forward on the policies they already used to defeat Andrew Yang, which is incredibly frustrating. Because I don't really feel that any of them deserve to defeat Yang. But here we are. This is where we landed. But the idea is, if we as Yang Gang say, hey, we should try to bring Freedom Dividend forward, then I think that matches. One, you can get Americans on board with Freedom Dividend. If we go back to UBI, it's regressive. The Freedom Dividend was appropriately labeled. It didn't fail because Freedom Dividend was a bad idea. It failed because of the simple silhouette problem. I think at the macro level, Americans have this simple silhouette in their head. And if a person doesn't match that simple silhouette, they're not going to vote for them for president. And the only person in history who ever figured out how to defeat this problem is Barack Obama. Right? And I'm not sure he can even tell anybody to do it. It's like Tony Hawk, right? Tony Hawk can tell you how to do a 720. He can tell you, just throw your hip in the air and spin around 3 times and then kick your foot out. That doesn't mean you could do it, right? Not only did Barack Obama know how to do it, he was capable of it. Not only did he have the knowledge, he had the capability. That's incredible, right? So I really think that Yang Gang should really consider trying to forward Freedom Dividend, abandoning UBI, leave it behind, right? And say, this is a better model. I also think it matches the idea, and I've said this from the beginning, and I believe this is true, I actually think Andrew Yang, you know what? His rapping on UBI and his presentation, this $1,000 a month for life, this has already been presented to the American people, right? We have the stakes in the ground. If we go back to UBI, we throw that out, and people start throwing out new numbers, new frequencies. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. UBI is a loser. Freedom Dividend is a winner. And I truly believe the only reason Freedom Dividend didn't go forward is the simple silhouette problem. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear if you think I'm right or wrong. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.